You're probably going to see a totally new generation of golfer come out to where they spend more time indoors than out. I think in the next 10 to 15 years, indoor golf will be really, really popular. Golfers, I would say as a whole, are after the next new shiny thing. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Right?
That's why I have a lab putter.
Uh-huh. That's why that company
Yeah.
that's why the company has taken the game by storm, is because you see so many guys on tour resurrect careers, and people think, hey, well, if this has resurrected this guy's career and he's playing for millions of dollars, what about me?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Golf and Politics. We're here from Tour Quality Golf in Tulsa, Oklahoma with the owner, Ross MacDonald. I'm a member of the Sheridan Club. I'm here
You are.
a lot.
Quite a bit, almost every day.
Yeah, I enjoy being over here.
Are
Working
you
on my
losing
golf
money
game.
on him?
No.
Not by golf. I mean,
No.
golf clubs aren't cheap, you know. So, Ross, thanks for having us here. You've been playing golf your entire life. You've owned Tour Quality since 2011. What is it about the game of golf that got you interested in the first place and keeps you going all these years later after starting your own business?
Yeah, for sure, man. So my dad started me when I was 8 years old. Just kind of been playing ever since. I love this game. I love everything about it. I love the opportunities that it's afforded me, some of the things I've been able to do, the opportunities I've got. I think I really like golf because it's you versus the golf course, and you don't have to rely on anybody else. You know, a lot of my day is spent a lot of times relying on unreliable people. So it's nice to, you know, if I hit a bad shot, it's my fault. You know, I hit a good shot, it's my fault. It's not somebody else's fault that was just unreliable. You know what I mean? I think that's
Unreliable
what I really
people. Are you
like about
saying that the golf manufacturers don't always get you the equipment in the time frame that they say they're going to get you the equipment?
Don't get me started, because that would be a whole episode in itself right there.
Have you seen an uptick in business post-COVID?
Yes, absolutely.
And who is your customer? I mean, is there a certain age demographic, or is it all over?
It's all over, but lately it's kind of shifted. I would say our demographic is more like your 25 to 50-year-old. Sorry, my allergies are terrible.
Mostly men?
Yeah, we're starting to get quite a few women in here, actually. A lot of the private clubs, especially, kind of just tend to ignore the women. You go to a public course, really, even women kind of tend to get ignored, and we welcome them with open arms, and their money spends just like the guys does. So bring them, you know.
What do you see coming down the line between Tiger Woods's program, I'm blanking,
The
TGL, and Topgolf and growth of alternative forms of golf? A lot of people say they're golfers and have never even been on a course. Where do you see the next wave of technology going, and what effect that'll have on the game?
So I think the next generation really likes it. I would call myself maybe a hybrid of a millennial and a Gen Z. I don't like going to play golf if it's going to take me more than about 3 hours, right? I will not go play a 5-hour round. I will not go play a 6-hour round unless it's in a scramble or a tournament.
Amen.
And there's a giant prize to win or something. You know what I mean? So I'm all about Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon golf. I think TGL, I think it's probably 2 years early, maybe a year early. They were smart starting in at a time of year when there was no other sports on, right? So that was the only thing that you had to watch at that time. I think that was really smart. I think it's going to help grow the indoor golf game. You're probably going to see a totally new generation of golfer come out to where they spend more time indoors than out. I think in the next 10 to 15 years, indoor golf will be really, really popular. In the next 4 years, it's expected to grow over 500%.
Is Tulsa a big golf city?
Huge. So if you look at Oklahoma by the handicaps, if you include women, we're number 4 overall in the country. And if you take women out of it, we're number 3. So I think like Mississippi and Texas are ahead of us. So huge golf community here.
So, Ross, in our industry, in politics, a lot of people, young people, want to get involved because maybe they grew up watching Fox News, watching CNN, or just see a campaign speech and they think it's glamorous. They want to get involved, and they also they get involved thinking it's going to be sexy, and they realize it's not nearly as sexy as anticipated. I have to imagine a lot of people get involved in the golf industry in the same way. They love it. They're passionate about golf. So I want to work in golf. It's not always as sexy as they might think. Tell us about some of the biggest challenges to just being in the golf industry, and you don't get a lot of days off.
No, as the owner, I'm here 7 days a week. I probably put in 100+ hours a week. I got here at 6 o'clock this morning. It's 7:15. I'll be here for probably another hour, go home, relax for a little bit, wake up, do it all over again.
It's more fun doing that when you're making money for yourself than for somebody else.
Correct. Yeah. And it's easier for me to love this, right? Because this is my baby. I'm not an hourly employee. I'm fully invested in this. The golf industry, man, it's mutating and changing daily. I think it's probably still 5 or 10 years behind. Say, what would you say a good parallel industry to that would be? Tech, maybe. Golf technology doesn't quite move as fast as tech does, but 2 to 3 years after you buy your driver, it's obsolete. Like something new is out. Right. It's better, faster.
What would, on that front, as far as the constant improvement, and I've played pretty much Titleist steadily since the mid-90s. And one of the things I like about Titleist is it's predictable that, odd years is irons and hybrids, even years are woods.
Wedges and ball.
Wedges and ball. One of my beefs with TaylorMade, and I know you're not going to take a side on any of this debate, is like, you buy a TaylorMade driver and like 3 months later, it seems like they come out with the next big thing when the last one they just put out was the next big thing.
Correct.
What effect would a golf rollback or rollbacks on technology on the club face or the shaft have on businesses like yours, if you don't have something new to market?
For sure. That's why they do it. Golfers, I would say as a whole, are after the next new shiny thing. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Right?
That's why I have a lab putter.
That's why that company
Yeah.
That's why the company has taken the game by storm, is because you see so many guys on tour resurrect careers, and people think, hey, well, if this has resurrected this guy's career and he's playing for millions of dollars, what about me? But back to your question, so that's one of my major beefs with the golf industry, right? Like, as I said when we started, the golf industry as a whole, that could be a whole episode in itself, but the equipment comes out way too often, right? I think that you shouldn't buy a driver and then 6 months later the new thing is out.
Yeah.
Right? But if they didn't have those yearly product cycles, these companies would go out of business. PXG learned that, right? So PXG, perfect example, okay? When they first came out, they figured out that they could sell irons for $400 to $500 a club. You know what I mean? 8 months later, they figured out, okay, there's only so many of those guys that are willing to pay $400 to $500 a club. Because when they first came out, right? When they first came out, their kind of mission statement was, we're not going to release something unless it's better than the next generation. If that takes 3 years, that takes 3 years. Well, they figured out that, 8 months is probably about how much time you have to sell this stuff before you have to start dropping prices. And now you notice they're on an every year cycle just like everybody else. What are they on, Gen 7 now or whatever? I mean, it's just, to me, it's just ridiculous. And it's hard for us because basically every 9 months, I've got to go in, re-update my website. I have to change all my fitting equipment. We have to change all of our displays. We have to change everything associated with the old product. And then we have to put all the new product up. So just imagine how labor intensive that is.
We tend to agree on the golf ball rollback. My sense would be, like, why can't it be like Major League Baseball, where major league players play wooden bats, like because they'd kill each other with
sure.
metal bats. And I don't see a problem with letting mere mortals get all the new technological advancements imaginable. Because I mean, look, I think the Pro V1 changed everything. The 460cc club head, now we're like, if you hit it on the toe or off the heel, you can still hit it in the fairway. It's great for amateurs. I mean, it still comes down to chipping and putting and what your swing path is.
How to get it in the hole.
How to get it into the hole. So, like, all the technological advancements in the world aren't going to lower scores, but they will make the game more enjoyable. And I'd like to, do you think that if we did that bifurcated system where the pros played a rolled back ball, but we still got to play whatever we wanted, would that hurt marketing? Because Rory McIlroy is no longer playing the same golf ball we are?
Yeah, absolutely. We use that as closing points in some of our sales. You know, some guy will be back and forth. Well, should I go Callaway or Ties? Well, Rory just won the Grand Slam with the TaylorMade. So, you know, you could tell that's what the guy wants, but he can't make up his mind. So then you tell him, hey, you know, Rory just won with this. And then he's like, okay, give me that one.
Yeah.
You know, I don't agree with the ball rollback. Does the NBA play with a different basketball than you and I do? No. So I think that a rollback or a bifurcated set of rules will absolutely hurt the game. I think guys enjoy being able to play the same equipment that Tiger Woods or Dustin Johnson are playing, even though you and I know that that's not the same equipment that they're playing.
Yeah. I mean, on the NBA example, just to push back a little bit, I mean, you've got Steph Curry has obviously changed the game. And now you see all these guys coming out just lobbing up three-pointers the whole game when
because the analytics say that's the way to win.
For sure.
Mean, they look at that and they study it and they're like, if you shoot more threes, you've got a better chance to score more points.
But it's virtually unwatchable.
At times,
So
yeah.
I agree. And all of us would have been benched. None of us were Steph Curry.
Right.
But all of us would have been benched even attempting half of those shots. I mean, I guess my point or correlation to it is in golf, when you've got these guys, I mean, it's tough to work the new golf ball and the new equipment left to right, right to left, and those things go straight.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are playing slash and burn, hitting 360-yard tee shots, driver wedge on every hole, and with the exception of the majors, are shooting 36 under, which to me is boring. Like,
I agree.
I want to see them tested. Like,
I agree.
I want to see them have to cut a 6-iron.
They were tested at Augusta.
I
They
said
were
besides the
tested at
majors.
Augusta.
They were
I thought
tested at
Augusta-
RBC last. I think.
They were.
But-
I thought Augusta played a lot harder than it has in
Those
previous
hard,
years.
firm greens at
But
Harbor
most of-
Town were, 17 under is a reasonable number for those guys.
But most events aren't 17 under. They're shooting 24, 25, 26. Like,
So then you know what they need to do? Instead of changing the equipment, I think they need to bring rough back. Like, rough is non-existent on the PGA Tour anymore. You watch when those guys go to the Ryder Cup and they go to Europe, the Europeans always pick really tough driving courses because they know the guys in America, they just spray and pray.
I think Ross makes a good point here, and I kind of see the point that like Jeff Shackelford makes on golf ball rollback. I get it. We don't want to keep building bigger golf courses. However,
we can't afford to.
if you build the bigger rough, that doesn't have to last.
Yeah.
Right? You can. That's where you talk about pros versus amateurs. Bowling's the same way. If you go bowl at a normal lane, the oil pattern is such that you can make strikes.
Yeah.
If I went and tried to bowl on a PBA bowling lane with their oil patterns, I'm going to throw a bunch of gutter balls.
For sure.
Give us big rough on the PGA Tour. Make hitting those fairways a premium. Harder pin positions. That could be a way that differentiates without just rolling the golf ball back. But let's stay on professional golf. Eugenio Chacarra is an interesting pro golfer. Transferred to Oklahoma State from Wake Forest, was a first-team All-American at Oklahoma State, and had the opportunity to go right to the PGA Tour, but went to LIV. Had success early on at LIV, then had some setbacks and some struggles. You have become his club fitter. You play a lot of golf with him. How did that come to be? I know he lives here in Tulsa, right?
Yeah.
But how did you become his man for all of his equipment?
Dude, I'm in the back working one day, and Bo Van Pelt calls me, and he's like, hey, I'm playing with this kid his 8-iron head just flew off. Can you fix it and get it back to us so we can finish the round? And I was like, yeah, bring it by. He goes, okay, this kid's manager's going to bring it by. I'm like, manager? What are you talking about? So this little squirrely little Spanish guy comes walking in. Hey, I'm Francisco. I glued the club together for him, got it back. He was able to play the back nine with it, and he's just kind of been coming here ever since. I think he kind of understands the level of perfection that we try to attain, and he's trying to attain that same level of perfection. I think that's why he comes here.
Recent winner on the DP World Tour, won in India, tied for 4th yesterday.
How old is he?
China, 25.
25.
Yeah. So he's in here often hitting balls. And when I do a TrackMan Combine, it's a nice shotgun dispersion in all my shots, right? When I look at his TrackMan Combine, I'll just watch from a distance. I don't try to crowd him. He's in here working, whatever. I mean, it's like mine is birdshot. His is buckshot. I mean, it is right on the number.
It's almost like a slug.
It's a slug, like every shot. It's mind-blowing how consistent he hits his distances. You play a lot of golf with him, and you're a good golfer yourself. How many, like, legit, and what's your handicap probably? Like
3.7.
3.7. So I'm a 4, you're a 3.7. Legitimately, how many strokes does he have to give you to make it a ball game?
Bro, I've played him a stroke a hole and still lost. as a low single
especially
digit.
the further back you go. If you're playing the tips with him at a Cedar Ridge or a Southern,
Exactly.
like, it's
He's with total, dude, he's 40 past me off the tee. So that stroke a hole is basically burned up off the tee. So that means I then have to be perfect on my approach shot in.
These guys are so good. I mean, seriously, the TrackMan Combine, I don't know if you can share with me one of his combines. Like, I would love to show our viewers just like how perfect the dude hits the golf ball. And look, he's a great golfer. He's not the best in the world. Like, he's working his way to get onto the PGA Tour. So you can imagine how freaking good Rory McIlroy, how good Tiger Woods was in his prime. It's
We
crazy.
sponsor.
I would put this kid up there I bet you in the next 2 years, he becomes at least a top 20 golfer in the world.
I think, yeah.
Minimum.
I mean, look, he won a live right away. Like, he clearly has the talent. You don't make first team All-American this day and age without being a guy that can make it. You had a question?
No, I was saying in playing with tour pros. I mean, there's a difference between playing with pros and tour pros. I played with Michael Kim at RTJ. We sponsored him early on when he was just getting on tour. He would come stay for a week at the practice facility. We'd get him all of his clothes, his golf balls, his gloves, all that stuff. So I went out and played with him, and I played a clean round. I think I shot 72 or 73. He shot a 60 with a water ball and 2 lip outs. It made me look like a child. And he's not like the longest guy out there.
Probably saved bogey with the water ball.
He shot 60 at RTJ?
He shot 60 at RTJ, and he hit it in the water on 14.
Unbelievable.
And it's just a different game. I lost by 12 shooting par, and he made me look like a child. But it's a different game.
Like, we've taken this clown on 3-man scramble with a pop a hole and still lost.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's playing a different game. Like,
It's not even close, bro. And it really infuriates me because I know I could practice as hard as I want for the rest of my life and never be that good.
yeah.
Well, tour quality isn't just a business where you sell clubs and you do club fittings. Real quick, before I ask my question, how often should somebody that's been fitted for clubs come in and do a checkup on lie angles and lofts?
Good question. So I would say probably every 20 to 25 rounds, you need to have lofts and lies checked, especially if you hit off mats a lot. So, like, for instance, Chacarra, we check his lofts and lies probably twice a month.
Okay.
I would say. If you're probably, let's call it 150 rounds a year, you should probably be once or twice a quarter.
Okay.
How often should people change their wedges if they play a lot?
Okay, so Titleist did a really good video on this. I'll send you the link to it. They did a robot test on a flat putting green, 100 yards with a robot, and they did a brand new wedge, 75 rounds in practice time and 125 rounds in practice time. At 75 rounds in practice time, is when you should start looking at replacing your wedges. At 125 rounds plus practice time, you lose 30 feet of stopping power, so
Wow.
10 yards.
And what about a golf ball?
Golf ball, every few holes probably. Yeah, that playing a whole golf ball for a whole round, I wouldn't do it. I would switch probably
They
every.
start to lose their.
Yeah.
What if, I've got a closet at home and I've got a bunch of people give you a dozen golf balls for a gift. So I've just got all these dozens of Titleists. Do they go bad if they just sit in the closet for a long time?
They've done studies on it. I mean, they'd have to sit there for a really long time.
So if I grab something that's been in there for a year or two, it's probably fine.
Yeah, especially since you're in a climate-controlled atmosphere, you're probably good.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the question I initially wanted to ask. This is golf and politics. This is the only political question I want to get into tonight. This is a club, the Sheridan Club. I'm a member. Jefferson is a member. We love being here. There's a lot of camaraderie that happens in discussions. How much are you hearing talks about politics around election time? Is that something that happens around the club? You hear people chirping? Has there been any big disagreements that you've had to step in and like, guys, chill it out here?
So luckily, everybody here is pretty like-minded. I would say most golfers are all pretty like-minded. I would say every now and then we will get somebody in here that doesn't agree with what's being said, and a lot of times those people, they won't say anything. They'll just go leave you a bad Google review or a bad Facebook review for not agreeing with their politics. You know what
Those
I mean?
pesky Democrats.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not blaming anybody. I try to stay as neutral as I possibly can here. I have my beliefs. I try to keep them to myself, but everybody here is very like-minded, and politics probably come up every day.
That's changed a lot. And how old are you?
I'll be 40 this year.
Okay, so we're the same age. What I think has changed in our lifetime politically is that it used to be you'd have the morning news on before you go to work, usually like the Today Show or Good Morning America. People would go to work, they'd go to school, they'd come home, maybe they'd watch the evening news for an hour, and then they might read the newspaper in the morning, heaven forbid, read the newspaper. And then after the evening news at 6:30, they would watch sitcoms and they'd watch TV and go to bed, and I feel like everybody got along better. But now, politics is 24/7 in your hand, and it's become entertainment.
So let me ask you this.
And I think it's like making us, I think it's ruined politics in a lot of ways.
I agree.
Because it's become entertainment, and journalism is now entertainment. So it's kind of like if you compared the WWE pro wrestling to Olympic wrestling. We now have news entertainment. And to keep people engaged 24/7, you got to keep them pissed off. You got to keep them scared.
Yep.
You got to keep them coming back.
Yeah. Cliffhangers.
You got to keep them coming back for more and more and more. And so now, and then you add in social media. I didn't used to know what my dental hygienist thought about abortion and guns, but now I do.
Now you do. And they make sure to let you know about it,
And
too.
they make sure to let you know about it. And so I didn't used to know what my neighbors thought about the issue of the day, nor did most people give a shit about the issue of the day. And now it's like we hate each other.
Do you think you're just more aware of it? Because I think about this almost daily probably on politics, right? So, as you're a kid, right, and you see all the adults are sitting there talking about politics and stuff. And as a kid, I'm like, man, how do you become that aware? How do you know how much of that is going on, right? Do you think it's just because we're more aware as we get older? Like, I agree social media has a portion to do with it, because
I think it's with like people that you were close with when we were kids.
you talk about
we
it.
talked about it, so you knew.
Yeah.
But it's the people that are more tangential to your life that you don't know, and you're probably better off not knowing.
Not knowing,
But
yeah.
you end up connecting on social media, and you see that if like you're a Trump supporter, you see that they're at one of these rallies, like holding up signs that Trump needs to die, whatever. And then if you dislike Trump and somebody's wearing a MAGA hat on social media, then you're losing your mind. I can't believe that person. I thought they were a good person.
Yeah.
We start equating whether someone's a good person or a bad person on who they vote for, and I think that's a bad way to.
Well, and I feel like my unwillingness to kind of open up about my political stance and how much I want to keep it private. Like, I'm a very private person, right? When I'm here, I'm very outgoing. I talk a lot. I let people know what's going on. But when I'm not working, that's my personal time, and I need people to respect that because I'm a very private person. But I kind of feel like maybe let's call it unwillingness to talk about political views is just because of the fact that you can't have a discussion with somebody that you don't agree with without it getting nasty. Like, I've had very few discussions in the last, let's say, 2 years with people that I don't agree with that didn't turn into a shouting match or me being like, hey, whatever, dude, I'm not going to change your mind. Peace. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we find that when we agree, we get less attention on our show.
Yeah.
People like it when we...
They like polarizing.
They do. And
so
social media.
Sometimes, honestly, sometimes in the show, I have to, I'm not in the mood to argue with Rob about politics, but I know that's what our viewers want to see. So you know what? Let's go, Rob. We'll go.
Well, and we do it all day, so the lights come on, and I turn it on too.
Well, and how many times have you guys discussed something and it's completely changed your point of view?
A few. I mean,
Right?
for sure.
Well,
Like when we're driving in a truck, we played Prairie Dunes last year. We're driving 3 hours. You have a lot of time to talk.
For sure.
We have a lot more things that we agree on than we disagree. We may disagree with the nuance on how to deal with that problem, or some of the effectiveness of this solution versus that solution. But we don't absolutely have crazy different ideas about how America should be.
We're also both professionals in the field.
Yeah.
And it's very rare that we ever yell at each other or that something lasts more than a segment. And largely, I have this belief that we only get worked up and angry debating something that we can't prove, right? So if you said, Rob, 2 + 2 is 5, I'm not going to lose my shit because I know it's 4. I can prove it's 4.
Yeah.
But when we get into arguments over what the optimal tax rate is, or,
Don't get me started on taxes.
or a religious issue or something else, that's when people get really heated because we can't physically or tangibly prove it. We believe it. We may know it to be the case or believe that it is the case. So it's
Belief, not know.
Right.
And that's the difference, right? Is
Right.
somebody believes they can't back it up, so therefore it's maybe not angry, but it's passionate.
Well, I know, the other day, the president said, and some of the students on student visas that they were deporting, they said, well, if they don't share American values, they need to get out. My response to that would be, well, what are those American values?
For sure.
I used to work for a congressman from Western North Carolina in the Great Smoky Mountains, Heath, and we would call everything mountain values. So whatever the position we'd be, mountain values. This is mountain values.
Yeah, but it was unspoken. You kind of knew what they were.
Sure.
Yeah.
But one person's values might be different. Like, to me, I think free speech, the right to peaceable assembly, the right to petition your government,
Absolutely, man.
I think those are American values. So just because somebody's, they're kids here legally, just because they say something critical the president doesn't like, that's as American as apple pie.
Absolutely, free speech.
Because those students should have the same right to criticize Joe Biden or Barack Obama or any Democrat. And conservative students should have the same right to hold wildly different positions. That's what makes us cool. Like, I understand somebody that's causing violence, breaking the law, doing something else. But when you say values, we might have different values. It's.
Well, Ross, we appreciate you taking the time, and I just want to add, usually we do a shotgun 9, but you like to play fast rounds. We're going to keep this episode fairly short. I just want to ask one question.
Okay.
What is, in your opinion, you've played golf in Oklahoma since you were 8 years old. What is the best golf course in Oklahoma, not named Southern Hills, not named Karsten Creek, not named Oak Tree National? What's the best golf course in Oklahoma that is not on everybody's radar screen that somebody should come to this state to play because it's a fantastic track that's a bit of a hidden gem?
I'm gonna say this. Everybody probably already knows what it is, but I love Hillcrest in Bartlesville. It's probably one of my top 3 favorites in the state. Now, granted, I haven't played a lot of golf in the Oklahoma City, Edmond area or Western Oklahoma, but my top 3 in the state of Oklahoma, in no specific order, would be probably the Patriot, Hillcrest, and Karsten.
Okay. My one question, dream foursome, it could be alive or dead.
Okay.
One politician, one
One politician.
one pro golfer, and one celebrity.
Let's see. Pro golfer would probably be Arnold Palmer because, dude, just imagine the stories that you could get from that guy. That guy is just a born storyteller.
And according to Trump, I hear he had a huge hog.
Yeah.
According to Trump.
Probably have to ask. You know what I mean? Prove it, dog. Celebrity. God, that's a good question. Darius Rucker.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
He looks like he would just be an absolute
Loves the
blast
game
to
of
play with.
golf,
Loves
too.
the game of golf. Has his own. Yeah.
Sponsors an NCAA tournament, doesn't he?
And has his own radio show on PGA Tour Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one. And then, so wait. We got the PGA Tour golfer. We got the celebrity
Politician.
politician.
Man.
Just don't say Jefferson Thomas.
Kim Jong-il. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Kim Jong-un, because I want to see if he can make 18 hole-in-ones.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, honestly, I like a lot of JFK stuff, so probably JFK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was supposed to, I mean, great golfer. Didn't have a bad back. Probably played a lot more golf.
Great golfer. Every time I think of JFK and golf, I think of the Seinfeld episode when Kramer
Oh, yeah.
got a set of gloves.
That's so good.
That's
well, Ross,
funny.
thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thanks,
coming
Parker.
on. If you're in the Tulsa area, Tour Quality Golf, best place to get golf clubs. Thank you to everybody that's listening. Please subscribe and follow us on social media. We appreciate everybody that's tuning in.